Welcome to the Mango Effect podcast, where every week we explore a range of ideas and inspiration that all culminate in designing the lifestyle that we've always dreamed of. No topics are off limits. We get into the practical, the hypothetical, and the downright juicy stuff. I'm Mindy Rosser, your host and lifestyle cheerleader, and I'm here today to talk about what a day in the life of Mindy actually looks like. Who else likes to hear about a day in the life of someone else? If you're anything like me, you've probably searched up daily routines of successful people, best morning rituals, productivity routines for night owls, and all of the things, right? I love to hear how people's days flow, and it's not because I'm trying to be creepy, although sometimes I am. I think sometimes I am trying to be creepy. When it comes to people that I really enjoy their content, I like the way they think, I like their perspectives on life, and sometimes I'm just completely curious about how people structure their days. And why is that? Because for those of us listening to this podcast, we are all interested in creating a lifestyle by design. So to create a lifestyle by design, we actually have to create a day by our own design. And that can take some doing. Too often, I think we focus so much on the big picture and we think, we have these vision boards of where we want to be 10 years from now, that we forget that we need to take that zoom out into the zoom in and actually focus on each day. So when people ask, what does a typical day look like for you? When I actually break down the day, it may not look that fantastic. From the outside, it's not like, wow, I'm surfing 20-foot waves every single day and I'm spending all of this time with my family. It's a lot different than that. But you know what? I believe that if we can create a lot of days by our own design, and we have more days than not that are designed by us, that we actually choose what goes into those days. We actually get to pick what we do and when. Then we create, by default, a lifestyle by design. And that's how I viewed it. Even before I started living the life that I am in now, 10 plus years ago, I was fascinated by daily routines because there's something to experiment with. There's something to learn about ourselves when we play with daily routines. And sometimes we need a little bit of inspiration from other people to figure out, I didn't know I could put that into my daily routine. I'm going to try that and see if that works. So a daily routine in a way that you actually live your days begins with a number of experiments. And most of us tend to live our days by default. There are certain things on our calendar that we have to do. We have to go to that work meeting. We have to take our kids to school. We have to pick them up from school. So there are things that are on our calendars that maybe we would not put at those specific times. And then we just kind of fill in the gaps around it. And it's kind of haphazard. It is not thoughtful. It is not intentional. And sometimes we get these New Year's resolutions and we're going to work out for 60, 90 minutes first thing when we wake up. And we realize, that sucks. That's definitely not a fit for my biology. Like, I'm not even awake until later in the day. So there are all of these experiments that we can run. So when we can look at our days as part of our lifestyle design, if we can take the circumstances that we have now, if we can take, the things that actually have to be on our calendar that we literally have no power to move at this point in time, but every other portion of our calendar, every portion of our day, how we move through our days is up to us to design. Imagine the power of that. Imagine how much momentum you can get when every single day you are in charge. You're in the driver's seat. You are not living by somebody else's schedule. You're not living by what society tells you you should do at certain times in the day. You are not living by somebody else's clock or what somebody tells you to do. You get to choose. Can you tell that autonomy is very important to me? It's definitely one of my values. And I'm so passionate about creating days by our own design because those days become weeks, become months, become years, become a lifestyle by design. But they all start with the tiny, tiny 24-hour cycle called a day. So I'm going to share what has kind of come to be my day in the life and how I see my days and what I love about my days. So I don't want to just kind of run you through my routine. That can be kind of boring. But I want to tell you why I'm doing certain things and what that gives me as a human, and maybe you'll get some ideas for what you can try. And I think just understanding my perspective and how I view a day, maybe that will help you look at your days through a different lens. I feel like that is one of the most valuable things I get when I hear somebody that actually goes into describing their perfect day and what that looks like. It's like, oh, that's why you do that. Maybe I don't want to do that at 7 a.m., but that's something I'd like to work into my evening routine. Or that's, a habit or practice that I might want to try at some point. Maybe not now, maybe later. So we get ideas, and those ideas all culminate in our lifestyle by design. Okay, so there's my little intro rant riff, and let's talk through my day. So, Mindy, what time do you wake up? So it all begins at 5 a.m. in the morning right now. So it's usually 5 to 5:30 in the morning is when I wake up. Now, currently, as you're listening to this, if you're listening to it in close to real time, I am doing a program. So I'm actually coaching as a mentor inside of a program called Building a Second Brain. Excellent program, by the way, by Tiago Forte. Look him up if you're really into personal knowledge management, so PKM. Look him up. Really good program. Side note. But so I am getting up early. So I have to be up because I am 6 hours behind Eastern, which means 11 a.m. Eastern time is 5 a.m. 5 a.m. at this time of year. 5 a.m. Hawaii time. So 6 hours difference. So he's running a program at 11 a.m. Eastern, and I have to be awake and alert at 5 a.m. Don't have to say anything, but I just need to be on some of those calls. So there's 2 calls a week. I need to be awake at 5 a.m. So I don't really enjoy being up that early. I like to be up like 5:30. And my actual goal, I will let you know if I can hit it. My actual goal is to get up at 6:30 a.m. But that is very challenging because a lot of the people I work with are from Sweden to Australia to the U.S., a lot of people in the U.S. So that can be tricky trying to fit my ideal day into everybody else's time zones. But I'm working towards it. So currently it's 5:30. And if it's an early morning, then I need to be logged on to Zoom at 5 a.m. in the morning. And I will tell you a little secret. If you do not have to turn on your camera and you have to do early morning calls, do not turn on your camera. Do your morning routine. While you are there and you are present, you are still listening, but you can still kind of do other stuff in the background. So that's my trick and hack for those of you who have to be at meetings that are earlier than you would prefer and you don't have to talk or really be on camera. So I get up early. I would like to shift that, though. If you've listened to my podcast about sleep chronotypes and what is the sleep chronotype, I think it's episode 9. What you'll hear is that I talk about being a dolphin. So ideally, in a perfect world, I really want to get up at 6:30 a.m., but I kind of have to back that up to 5 to 5:30 just to accommodate time zones. So once I get up, I still feel pretty tired, I would say. Usually I'm awake, like the awake feeling, but I feel a little bit groggy, like don't talk to me. Please do not try to have an in-depth conversation. Early birds, please do not talk to me. I am not ready for your conversations and all your insights for the day. I do not have this level of energy at that point. So what I do is I start with mobility. Because I am into surfing, mobility and range of motion is really, really important. I never had to worry about different ranges of motion. I didn't used to move outside of weightlifting movements, which are not really in 3 dimensions a lot of times. You're just kind of like up and down bodybuilding style movements. So I did not used to work on my mobility so much. So now I do. So I spend the first 20, 25 minutes of my day just doing mobility work. And it is so calming. I also view it as a little bit of meditation because I'm not talking to anyone. I'm hearing the guy kind of walk through their mobility routines. If you're curious which app I use, it's Surf Athlete app. It's really, really good. He has a stretches program, which I love. So I go through that routine every morning. And then at the end of that, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit more awake. And so I actually go and have celery juice. So I have read a book about celery juice and the amazing magical concoction of celery juice. Fantastic. I'm sure you can Google it and see all the celebrities that drink celery juice to start their day. But basically it's a way to hydrate. And for me, I find that the celery in my juice, the juice from the celery is actually super hydrating. It makes me feel really refreshed. So I experimented with it and I thought, it seemed kind of gimmicky. I didn't think I was going to actually like the routine. I thought I could just, do some plain old green juice. But the celery juice does something for me. And whether it is a placebo effect or not, I don't know. I feel really good afterwards. So I throw some celery stalks into my Vitamix, blend, push it through a nut milk bag, and boom, I have celery juice. So I drink that, and then I do my morning ritual, I do dry skin brushing. I take care of my skin. I do a cold shower. I feel like the cold shower actually helps me wake up. So it's not crazy cold because I'm in Hawaii. So the cold is nothing like it used to be when I lived in other places of the world where it was, cold winters. So here the cold shower is not really that cold, but still it is cold enough to wake me up. Finish up, get dressed, ready for the day, and I come out and I have breakfast. I usually start with egg whites and one egg. I know it's strange, right? Egg whites and an egg. I like a little bit of fat. And then I have oatmeal. And with my oats, I mix in like chia seeds. I have cinnamon in there. Sometimes I will throw in a little bit of honey if I want the properties. There's a certain type of honey that I use that has like bee pollen and stuff in it, and it's like superfood. And sometimes I'll throw that in there. And then I sit down and have my breakfast. If it is a work day, I tend to do my emails during that time. So it's by this point, it's usually about 6:30, thereabouts, between 6:30 to 7. And then the family is usually waking up. So my kids tend to wake up around 6:30. My little guy is a night owl. So if he does not have to get up, he is not awake. But Jason, my partner, he's awake. So we all sit around the table and we're kind of talking. And I kind of like checking my emails and kind of connecting with everyone during that part of the day. It's a nice way to ease into the day. And if there are any fires in my emails, then I'll deal with it. Sometimes I'll have a client call me during the middle of breakfast, like, guys, I'm not ready to talk yet. But I will answer any of those calls or anything that's pressing in Slack. And then by about 7, I like to come into my office. So currently, my office is inside my bedroom. Now, I know we've heard all of the people talk about your office needs to be in a separate space. I'm like, well, you don't live in Hawaii. In Hawaii, we don't have the luxury of different offices and spaces. I am very lucky that the kids each have their own bedroom. So we have a 3-bedroom house. So the kids each have their own, and I am standing at my desk in my bedroom, but I actually love it in here. If you've ever seen me on live streams, you probably seen my background, which is a mango tree. I have chickens. So it's very, very open. It's very bright. It's very light. And I love my room. There's something really special about it. And I used to have trouble sleeping in my room because my computer was here, but now I'm kind of used to it. And as long as all of my electronics are shut down at night, which I'll talk about later in my routine, then I'm usually fine. And it doesn't bother me to have my computer in my bedroom. All right, so as I'm starting the day, usually the first part of the day, if it's a weekday, I really like to focus on getting emails out of the way. I like to check all my notifications because I am 6 hours behind the majority of people that I'm working with, or at least 3 hours if they are Pacific time. It is usually a deluge of emails and people have been up for a while, and so I need to address those things in real time. I am not completely a digital CEO who literally just does lives and shows and group programs and guesting appearances. I still have a freelancing side of my business. I still work one-on-one with clients. So I am expected to be there and take care of things in real time before the end of their days. So that is really my goal. And it actually works quite well with my biology because I'm not ready for deep work like these people who get up in the morning and do right from 4:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then I take a break. I don't have that luxury just because of the type of work that I do, and it also doesn't work with my biology. I have tried to write in the morning, and my brain is just not in that space. Now, creative work, kind of busy work is fantastic. It gives me like this entry point into the rest of my day. So I love knocking out all my client work early. So I like to knock out all of the tasks, all the project management stuff. And my goal is usually by 10, 11, if I don't have calls. Now, if I am doing teaching, if I'm teaching my group programs, if I'm coaching, I try to get all of that stuff done before noon my time, ideally before 11 my time. And sometimes I will take a break then. and I will go surfing. So if the kids are in school and my partner Jason is home, he likes to get out there earlier because there are no winds. But in the middle of the day, sometimes there are winds, and if you're not sure about surfing, basically it kind of chops up the face, so it's a little more difficult to surf. So if there are no winds, then I will tend to go with him around that 11 o'clock slot. Sometimes I will just go surf by myself if he's already been surfing. He is home with me during the day, which is fantastic because... well, just a little bit selfish. He brings me coffee. He brings me like all the food. He keeps me on point because I get so absorbed in my work and what I'm doing. I forget to eat. I need coffee sometimes and I don't want to stop what I'm doing. I have momentum. So he's a fantastic support person, just helping me stay on track with eating enough food, drinking enough, hydrating, all of those good things. So if I go surfing in the middle of the day, it's actually quite a nice break because if I've completed all of in a perfect day, I will have completed all of my clients' work, anything that's time sensitive before 11-ish. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to go surf. And then I surf for about an hour. We live right down the street from, if you're curious, you can look on a map, from Ali'i, which is Haleiwa, the very famous Haleiwa wave, if you are familiar with the North Shore of Oahu. So that is literally 2 minutes from my house if I'm driving. So I will usually go there as long as the waves are not too big. Now, too big for me is like double overhead. I usually like overhead. Just about overhead or head high is fantastic because that is a very pitchy wave, a very fast wave, and dangerous if you don't have the skills. And I'm still learning to surf. I'm only 3 years into my journey, so I'm still pretty much a newbie. So if that spot is not too pitchy, or if it is too pitchy, what I will do is I will go to Puena Point. So you can Google that too if you're curious. Puena Point is a fantastic beginner spot. It is a softer wave. It has a nice left. Some days it has a nice right and a left. And I like to go there, especially if the surf is a little bit bigger, because I can practice my lefts. I'm much better on my right because that's surfing front side, not back side. And I love going to Puena Point. It is, as long as there are not too many kookies people out there. So what are kooks? Kooks are people that don't know how to surf or that are from the mainland taking a surf lesson and they don't understand surf etiquette. So as long as it's not too crowded at Puena Point, it's super, super fun. And usually on a weekday during the day, it's not too bad. It's kind of like, if you're curious about what the lineup is like when you are surfing, it is very similar to a gym. So if any of you have gone to the gym or an exercise class, there's a sense of camaraderie with the people that are in the water, that are out there. And so that's the same feeling that I get when I go surfing. Is I see all the same faces. We say hello. How's it going? We all share waves. We take turns. We show respect in the water, and it's super, super fun. So when I get back from surfing, sometimes I will have a group coaching program or a call or a webinar or something that I just get to attend. I don't like presenting in the afternoons if I can help it. Sometimes I cannot help it, and because I'm in Hawaii, people think, oh, well, great, you probably want to do something in the afternoon, so you can fill in this slot for my night person slot. So I am coaching at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and it feels like it is so late, but I'm accommodating, right? So I tend to not like to do coaching and talking to people in the afternoons. When I come back, it's usually about 12:1, somewhere in there. I love my deep work. So as a dolphin, sleep chronotype analogy here, as a dolphin, my best time, like when I feel the most alive, when I can get stuff done, when I can create new slides or presentations, anything that requires planning, process, slides. I don't like doing creative writing during this time, but I like doing like business writing, email sequences, creating programs, working on presentations. I love doing that during this slot. So from about, I would say 1 to 4-ish, usually, that slot is gold. Like most people hate their afternoons, or they talk about like the afternoon slump. That's when I have my energy. That's when I hit my stride. So as long as I'm not being pinged or bothered, and the wonderful thing is, because I'm 6 hours behind Eastern time, most people are all done and off work by this point. So I'm not getting a bunch of Slack messages. Nobody's bothering me. It is a fantastic focus time. So this is where I do all of that heavy lifting work, is what I would call it. Then about 4, I like to start wrapping things up. Sometimes I'll go late till like 4:30. But about that point, I like to do what I call a power down ritual. I learned this from The Art of Impossible, Stephen Kotler. He has a fantastic program too, if you are curious about just distraction. But just reading his book, The Art of Impossible, I will put the link in the show notes. It is really, really good, and it helped me to figure out a good flow to my day and the importance of a power down ritual, which will actually help you wind down for the day. So I use a system called I'm looking at it right now. The Full Focus Planner by Michael Hyatt. I'm not an affiliate. Just making that clear, but I love my Full Focus Planner. So that's where I will actually plan the next day. I will wrap up, and I use my Full Focus Planner throughout the day. The crossing off things, I didn't mention it, but I have my top daily 3 tasks that I want to accomplish that day, and then I have all of the other things that I hope to get to, and if I don't get to them, that's okay. But the big 3, it's called your daily big 3, are the 3 things that are going to help me reach my weekly goals. So I use my Full Focus Planner all day long, and then during my Power Down ritual, I will actually assess, okay, how far did I get today? Did I hit everything on my big 3? If not, does anything need to be deferred to another day? How am I going to go about that process? So then I set my schedule for the next day, plug in anything that needs to be done, check my emails. I probably check my emails too frequently during the day, just because I'm usually sending emails and notifications to clients, and that pulls me into my email inbox. But here I try to wrap it up. I try to get everything out. I love inbox zero. Some people do not. I do. I feel like I can relax as long as there's nothing sitting there. So I unsubscribe mercilessly sometimes, and I really try to address everything in my system before I wrap it up for the day. So about 4:30 to 5, I like to say, okay, everything's done. I transition into saying hello to the kids, talk to Jason, and then figure out, okay, what am I doing exercise-wise for today? I usually plan that out a week in advance, so I know exactly what routine I'm doing. But exercise is really, really important to me, and I actually enjoy it. It helps me calm down. It also helps me sleep better. So right now, if you're curious, I am doing a program called XPT. So if you Google Laird Hamilton, Gabby Reese, the 2 of them, they have created this program called XPT. And it's an app, and I love it because I don't have to think about my training. And I just pick a program and go with it. And usually it's about a 3 or 4 days a week program. The days that I am not doing that program, I'm still in physical therapy for pulling my hamstring. So I'm either at physical therapy, taking care of all of that wonderful rehab work, or I am doing some type of mobility routine. So I will usually fill in the other days. I always do something in this slot. So it could be a warrior ROMWOD. So a ROMWOD, ROMWOD. I love that tool. I do ROMWOD every day, which I will talk about later, but there is a long routine once a week. So I will either do that or I will do surf athlete. So I know I talked about surf athlete at the beginning with the mobility routine, but there are also some workouts inside of that program, and they are geared towards surfers who really want to also be athletic and be able to move their body in different ranges of motion. So it's a little bit more focused on performance in the surf. So right now I am not as big on bodybuilding, weightlifting, powerlifting like I used to be. I am much more focused on staying fit, very healthy, but being able to move. Like I want my joints to move in the surf. I don't want to get my hamstring injured again. I don't want to injure my shoulders. So for me, it's really about functional fitness. So that process, usually the workout is about 45 minutes. I used to do more like an hour and 15, but that seems way too long. So it's usually about 45 minutes. If it's a long workout, I go an hour, and usually I will wrap it up. I'll take a shower and then have dinner. I like to have dinner around 6. It used to be a little earlier, but I have bumped it back with my new sleep schedule. And 6, I like to have something along the lines of sometimes a salad, a big beefy salad with quinoa and some chicken. Right now, though, I'm actually loving Brussels sprouts, purple potatoes, and any kind of protein that we have in the house. So that could be ham, that could be chicken, that could be turkey. So it's super, super simple, but I feel so good eating that at dinner. It doesn't feel too heavy, and it also kind of refuels me after all of that working out. Then it's about time. I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly. Then it is time for the coffee enema. You're like, Mindy, we're really talking about enemas on the show. Yes, we are. I'm probably going to do a whole episode on this as well at some point, but I'm not ready for it yet. So I will tease it here. So after dinner, what I will do is I will do a coffee enema. And so the coffee enema is fantastic. If you have any history, like your family history, has any problems with digestion or colon or anything along those lines, coffee enemas are fantastic. Most people would recommend doing them like once or twice a week. I do it every day. I love my enema time. And it is a funny thing around the Rosser house because people will try to schedule things in the evening and Jason will say, no, that's Mindy's enema time. Can't do it. That's very special. That is important time to her. And even the kids, they know it's mommy's enema time. Don't bother her. So if you are a parent, then you understand this. It is so nice to have time by yourself when nobody can bother you. And that's how the enema started. Like, I wanted to be healthy, but I found out that I really love the time by myself where I can close the bathroom door and nobody can bother me for 20 to 40 minutes while I am doing my enema time. And I also just feel fantastic. There's something to be said for just feeling clean on the inside and taking care of your body. It doesn't have to be a coffee enema. It could be something like a nice warm bath. It could be any other self-care practice that you enjoy. But I recommend having like a wind down routine. Usually while I'm doing my coffee enema, I will do fun stuff like this is not worky stuff. I call it the fun stuff, the fun worky stuff sometimes, but it is more related to my curiosity. So this is when I am watching courses or programs. I'm exploring things. If there's something I'm curious about, I'm Googling things. So I really enjoy this time because it is exploration. I also do all of my tracking. So I am just a little bit, Jason says I'm not a little bit, but I say I'm a little bit OCD. He says definitely more than that, but a little bit OCD. So I track everything. So I track my food. I track how I feel. I track my moods. I track my menstrual cycle. We'll probably do a podcast episode about that for you ladies. I track every single thing. My nutrition. I know how much macronutrients I have taken in. I know my micronutrients. I know it all. So this is very important for me just to stay present. I also do a gratitude journal during this time. So this enema time is like my self-care and check-in. Then after enema time, I will usually go and grab a snack. Right now, my snack is cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, and then I top it with some delicious tropical fruit. We have soursops on our tree right now, so sometimes some soursop, and we have papaya we have a papaya plant just outside our door. So sometimes a little bit of papaya. I love mango. This is the Mango Effect podcast, so there's always mangoes inside of my bowl. And then I'll top it with some delicious granola. So it's really, really tasty. And then I will come to the bedroom and I will sit with Jason. He goes to bed earlier. So I will usually spend about 30, sometimes 40 minutes or thereabouts, sitting with him and chilling, and we talk sometimes. Sometimes we just watch shows together. But that's what I would consider our bonding time. We get to see each other throughout the entire day, but a lot of times we don't get to have those deeper conversations and really connect. So this is our connection time. And then he usually is going to bed about that point. So about 8:30-ish, thereabouts, I will go out to the living room. My little guy, he is 6 and he is a night owl. So he's usually up partying and he thinks this is fantastic because he gets to spend all this time with mommy and come talk to mommy. My 8-year-old, she is not so much of a night owl. She's usually asleep by this point or on her way out. So it's basically me and the little guy, we're awake. And so I will do my writing. So this is where I am creating my writing habit, and I will spend 20 minutes, just 20 minutes, because right now I'm still trying to develop that writing muscle. I will spend 20 minutes writing, and that could be writing. It could be working on the outline of my book. It could be some writing prompts that I need to kind of spark my brain and ideas. And while I am writing, I am heating up the sauna. So I will turn on the sauna. It usually takes about 20 minutes, which is perfect. So as soon as I'm done writing, my treat is to hop in the sauna and do that time. So in the sauna, I actually have a book that I'm reading now, like a hard physical book. It's called My Grandma Surfs Better Than You. It's a fun book. So it's all about surfing and surfing from a woman's perspective. So I read that for the first 10 minutes before it gets too sweaty in there and I start dripping sweat all over the pages. And then for the last 10, 15 minutes or so, sometimes I will do a headspace meditation. But if I don't want to get too sleepy, sometimes I'm very sleepy at that point and meditation puts me to sleep. So I don't want to sleep in the sauna. So if I'm a little bit on the sleepy end, I will watch a documentary or something along those lines. So that's super fun for me. I will definitely, for those of you who are saying, are you taking your phone in the sauna? Yes, I am. But I'm wrapping it in a towel so I can barely see the screen. And a lot of times I just listen to the audio. So it just depends. Then after the sauna, I will come out I have my yoga mat laying there. The lights are really dim, so it's really relaxing. And then the infrared sauna has a red light. So red light is really great at nighttime. It kind of calms your nervous system. And so I will do a 20-minute ROMWOD. So I mentioned ROMWOD earlier. They have shorter sessions that are just for 20 minutes of recovery. So it's very much like yin yoga. And I will do that. And it's so relaxing. Like, I love it. My muscles feel so good because they just got warm in the sauna. And now I am just like chilling, relaxing. Sometimes my little guy will come out and talk to me and play his games. And I will also sometimes, if the poses are not in a weird position where I can't look at my phone, then I will actually read on my Kindle while I am doing my Ramwad. So that's kind of fun. I get to kind of prime my brain for whatever I'm curious about at the moment and kind of bring it down a notch. So that usually takes about 20-25 minutes. So it's usually around 10 o'clock by this point, and I come in, I take a nice shower, I do my lotions, I do all my skin potions. I'm very much a stickler for all my skin products. And then I will hop into bed. So 10:30-ish, I'm usually in bed, and this is my TV time. So I will sit and watch some TV, usually something that is not too graphically violent, because that gives me crazy nightmares. And then I put on these red goggles. So if you've ever heard of blue light blocking glasses, I have tried putting them on earlier in the day or wearing them at night, and I just get way too sleepy, and I want to go to bed about 30-45 minutes after I put them on. So for me, it works better if I just put them on as I'm watching my TV. So everything is red as I'm watching my TV show, and it kind of puts me into that sleepy state. And then turn off my TV on my phone, get ready for sleep. And I'm currently using Whoop. It's Whoop, W-H-O-O-P. It's a Whoop strap, and I just got it. So I'm super excited. I'm tracking my data, so it tracks your sleep, it tracks your HRV, recovery, all of that good stuff. So I will tell my Whoop that I'm going to sleep, and then I will turn off the lights and go to bed. So that's pretty much a day in the life of Mindy. And does that really sound like crazy, fantastic? Like, wow, you're doing all this crazy stuff? No, it's actually been put together over time. It's like I experiment with things. I try to figure out what works with my biology, what takes me down, what brings me up, what I need to do and when. And things kind of shift over time. And right now, this is working quite well for me and my biology. So what is your day in the life like? Is there a specific daily routine or a habit that you really especially enjoy? Like I mentioned, I love hearing people's routines. I like to know what you do. So if you want to share anything with me, please DM me at Mango Effect Podcast on Instagram. You can also find me on TikTok at Mango Effect Podcast, but I'm not very good about responding to things there yet. I will. Eventually, I will. My daughter is pushing me. So, all right, that's a wrap for today. That was fun. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe to the Mango Effect Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. I'd be thrilled if you could write a 5-star review for the show if you love it. We're a new show, so any reviews and subscribes we get will definitely help us as we grow. All right, go have fun with your daily rituals, creating your day by design, and let me know how it goes. I will see you or talk to you in the next episode. Bye for now.